Welcome to Behind the Feed, the episode that takes you behind the lens and into the life of some of the amazing creators we work with. Today we've got a very special guest and someone I can call a true friend. He's actually my first ever client. It's John Farnworth. I've had the privilege of working with John for 8 years now, and he's had an unbelievable career in football freestyle, and then more recently, since I guess like we kind of started working with John back in 2018 around kind of short form content and you know, bringing this kind of work into social media. So we'll be going into all things John's career, the work that he does now, some of the brands he's worked with, the memories and stuff that he's made, and I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome back, guys, to Behind the Feed. Today I have a very special guest with me, John Farnworth, who is actually my first ever client, someone I definitely call a friend. So John, welcome to the show. It's so good to have you on.
Great to be here.
Yeah,
I've been waiting for this for some time and very much excited. So
no, 100%. And obviously, for those that don't know, like I say, me and John got a very special relationship. Like, you know, was a massive inspiration for kind of Engage being where it is today. And yeah, it's been some journey, hasn't it, mate? And we'll obviously go into that, you know, without giving too much away. But John, what I like to do is jump straight in with some icebreakers for obviously, you know, the people that don't know you and get to know you a little bit better. So I think, you know, given that, like, obviously everything that I know about you, I want to just jump straight into it with some quick fire questions, obviously based this on, you know, kind of our relationship, your world, or the world that you work in. So yeah, jumping straight in, mate, favourite football memory?
Seeing Manchester United beat Arsenal in the last ever FA Cup semi-final replay when Ryan Giggs took the ball. He took it around every Arsenal player and then put it into the top corner. I experienced that with my dad. I think I was 13. We won the treble that year.
Is that the one where he's got the famous celebration? Yeah, with the hairy chest out. Yeah. That's
I'll
crazy.
never forget that whole season was just magical. But that moment, to actually witness that, it was incredible.
And I know, like, from knowing you, a lot of these football memories that you, as very special to you, your family have like pushed you to go and do what you then have gone and done in your career, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah.
Amazing.
It was like, it left a lasting impact, that memory. So I was very, very lucky to experience it with my dad.
Amazing. And I know obviously you're a Man United fan, so it might cause some friction for people watching, but Man United's best player of all time, in your opinion?
That's hard.
Yeah.
Eric Cantona.
Collar up.
I think with what I do and like how I see football, and actually being able to, I met him when I was very young. I watched him many times. He's an icon, an artist. I wish there were more players like him nowadays.
Yeah.
He probably isn't the greatest ever. A lot of people, like fans, might say Bobby Charlton. There's so many players, but for me personally, someone I watched, witnessed, inspired by in lots of different ways. Even in the freestyle world, actually, I would have to.
Yeah, he had a few techers, didn't he?
Yeah,
he had a few techers.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Like, and I think obviously it's like you definitely see with you, it's almost like the showmanship, isn't it? Like you've done, obviously being a freestyler, that's been a huge part of yours. So I can see where that answer comes from.
Yeah.
Again, we'll get into this in a little bit, but obviously, John, you are a multiple Guinness World Record, but how many do you actually have now? Do you want to share a little bit of insight on that?
Yeah, up to date. I mean, we were chatting about this earlier. I've attempted loads. I think I hold maybe 5 or 6 different records. The ones that I'm known for are probably the endurance ones. I completed the Sahara Desert while juggling a football, 100 kilometres, went up to Everest Base Camp. They're quite known, or they were at the time, but I was also known for doing like the most amount of around the world. I don't have that particular record now, but since 2007, I've been frequently attempting records. And I think I still do hold a few. So
it's crazy, and that leads on quite nicely. I was going to say, what's the hardest record attempt you've ever done? Now, I know there's some mental, like just for those that don't know, I mean, I know climbing the Sahara, I think you're being modest there, not going into it, doing the London Marathon. I know these weren't record attempts, sorry, but like some of them obviously just extreme challenge as well. But what's the hardest kind of like challenge or record attempt that you've ever brought yourself into? I know there's a few in there.
Yeah, it was definitely a mix-up between Sahara and Everest. Like Everest, dealing with altitude sickness, dealing with pure tiredness. That was difficult, the terrain. The Sahara is kind of the flip side with the heat. But yeah, both of those two were like equally difficult. I tried to do the record for just the most amount of kick-ups, which is 12 hours earlier this year. I failed that. That was so difficult just because it's very boring. But that was the challenge. The challenge was to see if I could.
And that was without dropping the ball, wasn't it?
Without dropping the ball.
Incredible.
Still did 12 hours, but I dropped the ball after 4 hours. But because we were doing it for charity, we were fundraising, I wanted to finish it. So, but you know, I do these challenges to better myself.
The stories this man has is remarkable. We could talk for hours, honestly. It's incredible. And jumping back to, I guess, like your work, I wanted to ask, what's the most amazing place that your job has ever taken you to? Because I know you've obviously travelled the world, right, with what you do.
Yeah. Oh, very good question. I've been so lucky. I think I've been to about 30, 40 countries doing various things. Like we've done some really cool things together, Champions League final. That honestly comes to my mind. That was absolutely incredible in Portugal. I'd say visiting South America was magical many years ago. But equally like Southeast Asia, the way they approach it. South Africa, sorry, I've not given you one answer here.
Great.
I remember going over to the World Cup in 2010 and just feeling the energy there. And
that was South Africa, wasn't it?
That was South Africa, yeah. So I think all these memories and like energies that have sort of like I've been able to witness has like helped me do what I do today.
And I think me and you still have that like childhood excitement around being around a football ground, don't we? And like the kind of like the magic of it all and that it brings. So I don't think you can almost have like a one kind of answer for that, can you? No. Because like certain events, they are amazing. Obviously the story around Champions League final, like that's a whole another episode, but obviously to get to go there with you, beat with Chelsea and then going on to win it was a core memory that will sit with me for the rest of my life.
Also me as a United fan watching City get beaten.
It's a win-win for both of us. It was so nice. And I know me and a little bit on like football nostalgia, I know me and you have like even with ideation around ideas have done so much, haven't we, around kind of stuff. So one question I had on here was like, what were your favourite ever football boots?
The two that come to mind, the R9 Mercurial Vapor.
The gold.
Were they Vapor?
Gold.
98.
Yeah.
Ronaldo Nazario was my hero as a kid. Like that guy, the phenomenal. So those came to my mind, but also the Predator Accelerator.
Yes.
You know, the ones with the famous, they've brought them back now.
With the tongue over the strap. So nice.
Like, and Beckham's brought out the pink ones, which are quite cool. But it's that, I always remember the Accelerator. I always remember saving up for them as a kid. It took me probably all year to save up for them. And I wish I'd have kept them, the original ones. But I would probably go for the Predator, actually. They're just... The fact that they're still making them and bringing them back to their designs just shows how powerful
it's such a heritage piece for Adidas, isn't it, to have them? And God, I remember my uncle bought me a pair of it was the red and black Adidas Predators, and I absolutely loved them. And my mum chucked them years later, and I wanted to keep them. And Mum, if you're watching, shocking move from you. But and then. I guess one question similar to kind of like football nostalgia, but what's the best ever football merch find that you've had? Because I know you like your retro jackets, I know you like your football kits, but if you have one, whether it's in the house or, you know, I love it when I see stuff out, I send it you and I like...
I know, I've got a few. Last few years, I got a Ronaldo shirt from the 2002 World Cup, Ronaldo Nazario, that's pretty cool. United did a cool run of the 91 shirt, the white one, which is quite iconic. That game was quite iconic actually as a United fan because it was kind of the start of the winning ways. I was a little bit young to sort of be there around that time, but that shirt was quite cool. The 1991 Cup Winners' Cup final.
I know you like that one.
But I've got loads. My wife goes mad at me. Like I've just been on a trip and I ended up getting an AC Milan shirt. I was like, I need to get a shirt. I tend to.
You don't buy fridge magnets. You buy football shirts.
I buy football shirts, and they're so expensive. But like, I just love a football shirt. Aside from the team I follow, like I do love football shirts, and I think there's been some like iconic ones. I think where we are now in design, there's so much retro stuff coming
fashion now, isn't it?
It's coming back,
I
isn't
don't know
it?
if you've been in, like, I went in the Nike store recently and they had like all the Total 90 stuff's now becoming like literally
you sent
it's
me
on the shelf.
that jacket
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, and all that is
was the
almost
era.
like on the shelves now, which is so sick to see. You know,
it's cool, isn't it?
It's so cool. So
Yeah.
but so that was a little bit on the kind of like the aspects, and so I kind of want to then now go into, I guess, like your journey, because like I say, it massively inspired me, not just, you know, as in business, but just as a person, I think, and the way like you conduct yourself, and, you know, take us back to that kind of time. I think you're like 16, 17, weren't you, probably leaving school, and what made you go down that, you know, route of being a freestyler? Because obviously you've worked for yourself pretty much from day one, haven't you?
Yeah. Never had a proper job.
No, I wouldn't put it like that.
I did wash up once when I was 16, but I didn't like that. No, well,
that was enough to know that wasn't for you.
No, I was always kind of, I don't know, but I think, well, like when I started freestyle, I went to Brazilian soccer schools when I was 14. Simon Clifford, who was a big mentor to me, he was actually my best man at
I
the
remember.
wedding.
Yeah, maybe you introduced me to him.
He brought the original futsal. It was actually to Leeds here. I was sort of Manchester way, so I went to the soccer school there at 14. That introduced me to just actually being good with a football. I was like, wow, you can actually learn stuff if you practice, because teachers didn't really talk about practice and getting better at stuff, and that always had an impact. Simon always said you can actually do anything with a football. I was like, wow, no one's really kind of thought that way. That stuck with me, and that ultimately led me to just wanting to like
entertain.
Yeah, like just express myself with a ball. Not long after that, Nike started doing campaigns like Nike Freestyle 2000, 2003. There was a quite a big one actually across the UK. I went to that. I saw a bunch of freestylers, and I was like, wow, this is actually a thing. People are
there's a community here.
Yeah, there's a community. So that's when I got started, and then I started competing. I eventually won a world championship, European championship. Kind of later on went on to world records and challenges. But yeah, it all started actually with that, I guess, the love of the ball and what can be achieved with just a very simple object, which has led me to where we are today, creating social media videos and content where football is still very much the thread that runs through everything I do.
Yeah, and it's amazing, isn't it? Like, you know, to see that kind of, because what a lot of people probably don't know about you that are more kind of fell into like your work in the social space is that history that you've had in that, like, you've traveled the world through freestyle, let alone social media, you know. So it's now it's just combined, hasn't it, the two, which actually leads on quite nicely to, I guess, like roll back to 2018 where I was introduced to you, you know, kind of Costa Coffee in Headingley, wasn't it? And you know, kind of was on an internship, and you know, I think the person I was working with at the time said, like, there's a guy from Preston, you're from Darwin, you both love football, I think you'll get on like a house on fire. And, you know, thank God for that introduction, because genuinely, obviously, as you know, like, changed my life. And, you know, obviously, we were kind of focusing on at the time, wasn't it, on world record attempts that you were doing. I think we were, I want to say, I think it was the Everest or Sahara at the time.
Just finished the Everest one. It was
Sahara,
the Sahara.
That's right, and we had the meeting with the supplement company to obviously, because you were looking at it differently then back then, wasn't it? It was more around kind of how can brands kind of get involved with the world record attempt, looking at more traditional sponsorship, advertising placements and stuff like that. And I think with my agency background, I was trying to make you probably see the potential in social media a little bit more, because you were, you know, what I found, like, you know, crazy back then. This was before, I mean, you were actually on TikTok before anyone even knew about it, and Instagram Reels weren't even a thing, but you was always creating short form content, because that high energetic short form videos was how you documented your portfolio for freestyle, right? So I always say, like, you were always ahead of the curve when it came to, you know, short form edits.
Maybe, I mean, I think I was quite fortunate that I had a skill set to document with the ball and everything. I think I always think I didn't actually start making videos until 2020, because I didn't understand it. It's my life now. That's literally what I do. But yeah, I used to just go down and set a camera down and just film my best skill. And then it was these challenges and like linking it with yourself. It's like, at that time, we already had GoPro behind me, and that was really cool. But I just needed a little bit of extra money, because the trip cost quite a lot of money.
Obviously, to do these challenges, to go to Everest, Sahara, it doesn't come cheap, does it?
No, and I think I said to you, I was like, Liam, I just need this amount. Can we raise it? I couldn't believe it. Within like a month, you were like sorted PhD nutrition. Amazing. Amazing. I was like, this guy's flipping amazing. Like, what a guy. And that did start the precedent for what has come. But yeah, it was. And like, we made content around the Sahara. And that has obviously led on from there. And like going back to TikTok, it was just back then, it was probably in a good sense, it was quite innocent. It was just post.
We were just seeing what, jumping on trends. I remember I remember early days, probably like as we entered what was that? I kind of met you in 2018. I'd say the first 18 months very much centered around the challenges. Then when the short form boom happened, which was like beginning of COVID time, like May 2020. I remember then you're like, because you always have a love for magic as well, don't you? Like that's been a big thing for you. So I think that then what was obviously, I mean, I'd done work with an agency about like camera trickery, and they always say like, scroll stopping content. Like that was a lot what brands were looking for. So like your love for magic and freestyle and creating, almost like we brought it all together, didn't we, to start throwing stuff out there. And I mean, I feel like at the time, I could be wrong here, but we had like 300k on TikTok before anyone really like knew about what it was. And we were like, we've got to leverage this.
That was purely a fluke, because I was just posting and not really understanding the business behind it, or there was no strategy. There was no like, oh, this will like be a business. What
was the reason for that? Like, what was there someone that gave you a push back then, or?
I think before the pandemic, and that was a massive switch for me in terms of like my focus. But before that, because my business was based around doing live shows, I'd do loads of stuff with like young people, with schools, doing workshops,
BBC,
football clubs.
I
was also a presenter on CBBC, so that created like nice videos from time to time. But it was purely just to promote what I do in the hope that like a young kid might see it and be like, oh, that's cool, that's positive, that's, a big part of what I do is always like promoting creativity, sharing. Going back to the magic, it's what I do today is like, I try and make videos that scroll stopping, but we're polarized at times. There's so much fear. I don't want that. I want to make good stuff that magic isn't a trick. Magic's a feeling. And if you can make one person feel good and feel, oh, that was good. That, like, I was looking at Banksy the other day. Like, he's an artist. He creates magic. Like, whether you like him or not, it's cool. It's interesting. It breaks the norm. We need that. I think it's essential. And I think that was always at the heart of what I did, from being a youngster just wanting to play with a ball to now making hopefully really cool videos on social media.
And that is, to be fair, again, like leads on really nicely to kind of like the creator era that you're in now. And I guess like obviously that, 2020 to where we are today has been a crazy like journey, hasn't it? Of like the brands you've worked with, obviously we touched on it, some of the experiences that we've had through kind of like, because what's been so unique about like working with you is like, because of your kind of multiple skill sets, like that has created some like amazing campaigns, because people like brands leaning into you for your freestyle ability, the kind of like the editing, the content, the presenting. So it's shaped some unbelievable experiences, hasn't it? That have, kind of, I could roll off so many kind of campaigns that are so memorable and etched in my kind of memory because of like, the work we've done. But I guess like you're kind of moving on to today, like, obviously a big thing for you has become VFX, hasn't it? Like obviously now when we're, pitching you to brands, it's almost like, yes, football first, VFX artist. And that's kind of like been a huge, so kind of take us into a little bit more around like why that's become like, a big part of your work.
Yeah, it's funny, like 2020 when I started learning, I genuinely had no knowledge of making videos technically. Like I downloaded like Adobe Premiere Pro. I was like, what is this? Like, but I learned like a few techniques.
Self-taught as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, purely self-taught. I was like, oh, maybe if I mix this with this will happen. And I was always inspired by VFX creators. I didn't even know what VFX was. Like I just saw, was it Zach King's really cool magic creator. I know he's been a big role model for you, hasn't he? I've always loved his stuff, and I've always thought, I wish I could do that. But I guess like when you're in the middle of a different period of your life, you don't particularly have the time, because there's a lot of learning to get to that level. Obviously, I'm still trying to get to that level, but yeah, these creators were always in the back of my mind. I was like, what if you mix that with that? And I started to do that with the time I had on my hands during 2020. I had to cancel all my engagements, and I was like, well, just put videos out, just try. And I was literally like, I would literally go out that day, make something, learn something, and then post it. And it's kind of led me on the journey into various other softwares that I'm now using, like delving into like the 3D and animation worlds. And I'm just trying to learn as much as I can to put my own unique spin on what I do. The essence has not changed, but I guess the skill sets can change, and you go on that journey.
Yeah, and it's like almost like navigating through the algorithms, right, of like what works, what doesn't, but bringing that, just keeping that core of what you do as red tape, football, magic, freestyle, VFX, it's all still there at its core. It just shifts and changes.
And sharing, like, and we always talk about this now, don't we? Like sharing what goes on behind the scenes, and like sharing a video. And again, we're in this time now where people are kind of like, is that real? Is that not? People don't know. So I think sometimes by showing your craft as well, and like showing what goes into it, like the ideation process, the production, and making the stuff, like people actually like that, and they're like, it might inspire them also.
Definitely.
To be like, oh yeah, I could do that.
I know we're going to kind of like touch on this, but like I think that like that kind of like, you know, I joked to you earlier, didn't you? I think nowadays a lot of people just need a camera following them around to document so many, because I think for someone like you who's, you know, probably don't realize it, but everything that you're doing is probably so inspirational for like people that are into editing, or like, you know, you're people that are trying to get into freestyle, or just generally self-employed, like me back when I first met you, just kind of going into that self-employed world, and like how you navigate your time and stuff like that. There's so many things that like sharing more, and that's it, isn't it? It's sharing the processes of everything that you do that you know is
because if it helps one person, it's definitely worth it.
Exactly.
I think,
yeah. Powerful. No, really, really good. And I think like just on obviously on a like a personal perspective on kind of thing, you know, wanted to ask, like, obviously you've been in the game now, what, 20 years, like, you know, working for yourself, like what keeps you motivated to keep pushing and to keep going?
Like there's so many factors. I think like those people around me, and I include yourself in that genuinely. I think when I come see what you're building, and even the team here and stuff, and like that keeps me like inspired. I always make an effort to film with people. I've got a great community, not just in the freestyle world, but in the football creator world, the creator world itself. That keeps me going, like collaborating with other people, sharing moments, creating new stuff. But I have so many other creators that I'd like, at least once a week, I just go back and I'm like, not to steal ideas, but kind of to get inspired. I look at other creators.
Me and you have always been very big on balancing off other people's energy, haven't we? And one of the things we both kind of struggle with working at home was like not getting that, you know, and I think that's why me and you have always been quite religious, haven't we? I mean, I know it's dropped off probably more like recently, but make sure we get that back on track of like, we need that time to see each other because it reignites ideas, it reignites motivation.
It's so important. There's a great thing I listened to recently. It was all about finding the others, like finding other people that are a bit, not mad, but like, when you're a creative person, or if you're in this world, there's not that many people that are in it. So you got to find them people and feed off them, learn from them, like put yourself at the bottom and put yourself in places where people are way better than you. And like it might be seeing, for me, I might be seeing a video that I'm like, wow, how have they done that? So I'm like, can I make something? Can I learn? I think that is, rather than looking at it and like, why are they doing better than me? Like, no, like it's the best time to be alive. That everything's there. You can learn from it, and also all the information's there to get better. Like I learn everything I do. That has enabled me to work with so many amazing brands for free. I pay for certain subscriptions for the software,
but
it's like it's peanuts for what you get. I learn everything from YouTube. Everything. Like I've got so many like channels that I'm like so grateful for that have taught me these things. It's like, you can't complain at that. It's free. If you've got Wi-Fi, you can be anything. You can do anything.
Anywhere in the world, right? So I guess then, like, what at least what I asked for, kind of going on to the kind of like, you know, closed section. But like, what would be your kind of, you know, best bit of advice now for, you know, younger people kind of trying to get into, because obviously everyone's talking right about like getting into content creation. You know, it's such a good space to be in, and that's right. But like, what kind of would your like top tips be for anyone that's wanting to kind of come into the space that you're in now? There's so many. I think it is, you've always got to, I think, I might be wrong in saying this because some people might, you know, argue the opposite, but I think you've got to do what you feel is in your heart to do. Whatever that is, I think just doing it purely for views can only get you so far, or just for that. I think, yes, there's a game to be played
but you have to have that core element of what you stand for and what you do, why you do it, what do you want to bring to the world.
Definitely.
Actually, that's a big, that is like what your why, whatever you want to call it, because it's difficult.
Definitely.
Like it's challenge, isn't it? Like I think as a creator, I see it very much like sport, because you've got to turn up every day when you're tired. You've got to put a session in.
Craft.
And we were chatting about this earlier, like your video views will go up and down. Like you'll get a crazy video that might get crazy.
You can never
numbers.
put your finger on why.
No,
but
like you can decipher it and look at it, but it doesn't matter. It can go to low. Like you've got to be unaffected by that and just try and just do the work, do the work, do the work.
Yeah.
I listened to a great interview with Robert Rodriguez, a filmmaker, and he was just like, head down, do the work, meaning just create a body of work, just do, who cares about the outcome, just do the work. And I think that is the core of everything, really, because it's why we get distracted, because we're like, oh, they're doing that, I'll do that, they're doing that.
And it's too easy. I mean,
it doesn't work that way.
We touched on this with Alicia and with Abby, actually, but like, you know, it's kind of like, a lot of people judge like follower count as like how I'm doing and stuff, but it's so, as like this space evolves, like becoming more and more outdated, that is not the metric that you should be looking at. Like you said earlier to me, it's like it's the people that are seeing the content, so don't worry if like you know you have a dip in engagement. It's the consistency of doing what you believe in, and that's why I think it's so important. Just going back to your point around kind of like, you know, owning what you really kind of like stand for, because you know, I think I remember saying this with Abby, like a lot of people kind of chase what they think is relevant at the time, and then eventually you're just kind of stuck in this grey area of not really, you lose yourself a little bit, because you're trying to change and adapt content for what you think people want to see, but actually, you know, it's all good and well and good trying new things, but stick to what you believe and what excites you, or else you're very quickly gonna peel off, aren't you, and fall out of love with it, probably.
You do have to keep that. Just a really quick thing from, like, again, like Steven Spielberg was like apparently criticized in his early days as a filmmaker.
Right.
Steven Spielberg, right?
That's crazy.
And someone said to him, what keeps you going? He's like, I'm just creating a body of work. So what he was meaning was like, I just make films, right? So people were like slagging him off for films, right?
Yeah,
so
crazy.
what would have happened if he hadn't listened?
Someone of his ilk.
He made like, you know, every iconic film. Who cares? Just crack on like that. And that's I'm only saying this because that is something that I sometimes battle with, because if like I'm going for a you know, not a rough patch, but like a dip where I'm like, oh, that didn't do really well. That video took me like 2 days to make or whatever. So what? Just crack on. You can. There's learning in that. It's beautiful.
And I think it's so good bit of advice, because like, you know, we manage now nearly 40 creators, and everyone, like, you know, goes through these dips and stuff, and then it's easy to kind of beat yourself up and compare and stuff. But you know, when you take your head out of the box and look at the bigger picture and the growth over, you know, the last few years and stuff, it's always kind of a undulating but upwards trajectory that a lot of people are going on, and that's what we try and educate a lot of talent on. It's like, no, don't look too much in the now. I understand why it's easy to do that, but like, look at the journey and look at how things are, and you just need to keep going and you know that. So
compound interest.
You're
honestly,
right. It is.
If you do something for 10 minutes a day, you'll be a master of it in 30 years.
Yeah, it's so true.
Well, like if you do it a half an hour, it's not actually that long.
Yeah. That's so true.
You just got to do it.
Yeah, you've got to.
That's it. You don't need to do 50 hours. Like, you just do a little bit.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Well, nice. Well, listen, John, I know you're a man of football trivia, and we've been trying to come up with new games for each guest. You know, as a little bit of a little bit of something fun. So I have got some football trivia questions for you to test your knowledge. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read out some facts, and you're going to tell me if they are true or false. And if you obviously even give me the answer, bonus points for you as well. So, number one, Cristiano Ronaldo scored more Champions League goals than 98% of professional clubs. True or false?
True.
What a crazy start, isn't it?
Because I know he scored the most in the Champions League, but I guess when you, wow.
98% of clubs. That's incredible, isn't it?
That's mad.
It's incredible. There has never been a goalkeeper who's won the Ballon d'Or. True or false?
Oh, that's false. There must have been. Lev Yashin.
Yeah, Lev Yashin did. Yeah, it's false. Yeah, there has been. Lev Yashin, yeah, you've got it. Do you know what year? That's crazy. That's great knowledge.
It would have been around, what, the 60s?
Yeah.
1962.
Oh, wow.
Was it?
1963.
Ah!
Mate, that is incredible knowledge.
I'm shocked that I got it, but he's like, I just know him as an iconic keeper, and I'm like, he will have won the Ballon d'Or, that guy.
That's unbelievable. The 60s is before your time as well, so that's incredible. Yeah. Preston lad. Preston North End were the first ever winners of the English Football League. True or false?
True.
True.
Is it?
Yeah,
I thought it was.
Yeah, because you obviously worked on the documentary, right, with Netflix.
I did.
On
the English game.
Yeah, and that was obviously being from Darwin as well.
Yeah.
That had.
It was based on Darwin.
Yeah, that had some like real, for us, Lancashire roots, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because for those that don't know, there's some serious history of football, isn't there, around where we live?
It all started in the Northwest.
Yeah.
Like they were the founder members: Burnley, Preston, Darwin. Yeah.
Crazy.
Blackburn were like Man City back then. By everyone, and like it was
Jack
quite
Walker
political
era.
And like back in the 100 years ago.
Oh wow!
Like they were the ones that started to put money in, and it was like, I'm proper going off tangent here, but yeah, it's really interesting. Like life's so cyclic. Like mad. Like, but yeah.
Unbelievable. Man United one thrown in here. Sir Alex Ferguson has won more Premier League titles than Arsene Wenger and Jose Mourinho combined. True or false?
True.
It's true.
Greatest manager of all time.
Yeah, I was going to say he's a special man too, isn't he? Yeah, special man.
Yeah.
Last one. One Premier League player was sent off before he even touched the ball. True or false?
True.
Do you know who?
Premier League.
I had no idea. I had to really dig for some tough questions here to try and catch you out.
I'm proper. So it was Premier League. Jeez. Before touching the ball.
I can give you some clues.
Go on then.
I definitely know he played for Blackburn at some stage. And the person that it's true, you're right.
Okay.
And the person that he offended also, I know, played for Reading and had a big part in, you remember Petr Cech's injury with the head? Don't know if that is going to help.
It's not Damien Duff.
No, it's Keith Gillespie.
No
and he
way.
elbowed Stephen Hunt in 2007.
No way.
And apparently it was done in like, some people say it was like 13 seconds, but it was in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Apparently just ran on, elbowed him and sent off.
Wow.
Crazy
2007,
stats.
so that must have been like later in his career, because he was at United in like 94,
Yeah, well, he's on
the
show, isn't he? What's it? The Beckham, is it Beckham show, a United one? I watched it recently because he was in the academy, like in the 92, class 92.
He was in the
I think that was what it was, the class 92, because he was in the setup, wasn't he, with like Neville, Giggs, Beckham.
Wow. I didn't know it was Keith Gillespie, but yeah, that's
crazy stat.
Yeah.
Wow. Mate, that's really not bad. 4 out of 5. That's some go in that. And like I say, I really had to do some digging to try and catch you up, because I knew a lot of it would be answered. Okay, mate. So like, I guess like to wrap things up, like you know, we've talked obviously about your journey. We've talked about kind of, you know, some of the stuff. But for you, kind of what's next? Like, what do you see the next? You know, I know in social media saying what's in the next 5 years is almost impossible to answer, but what's your focus, mate, you know, moving forward?
Yeah, I think my main focus is still to try and make the best videos I can and also like grow the production arm to what I'm doing with Quick Flicks. As you know, it's quite small, not many people know about it, but I am doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes for brands as well as like my own stuff. So
because I guess again, like that, you want to put that knowledge, don't you, into kind of like brand production and definitely and share that service.
I feel like I'm learning so much on my own platforms and my own channels, and I'm very lucky that I can kind of create these like incomes from it all. But I feel that that's where I'm at maybe my best, where I'm creating and making stuff. So I definitely want to push that. But in terms of challenges, I'm still very much wanting to push myself. I mean, I'm 40 in January, but I'm doing an ultra marathon in March, which we chatted about, and then I've got quite a big challenge planned next year. So I'm wanting to continue what I'm doing.
It's
really.
Just more
and
of the same,
I want to
really,
do physical stuff as long as I possibly can, because I felt like it's a big part of what I do and while I'm here. Do you know
and
what I mean?
love that kind of like mental, physical challenge.
I do. I think it helps all areas of my life. I think if I was just doing the digital stuff, at least for now anyway, I'd not get bored. But I think it helps. It helps me like go. If I've been working on an edit all day, I just love to go out and freestyle for an hour or go for a run. And I want that to continue as long as possible.
Yeah,
really.
no,
So,
100%. And, you know, I think more like then from a content perspective, I know we've been talking about sharing more of, like, I know we touched on it obviously in this conversation, but, you know, sharing more of like the behind the scenes
Definitely.
and actually what goes into, like you said, like self-teaching yourself to kind of do all this. You know, we've seen a lot of that content, you know, in most across different kind of verticals of creators of just like, you know, building like that almost like open lens of building a business and building kind of like even like as a creator your own business, right? So you know, sharing more of that kind of like the editing, the VFX skills, the work that goes into the time and stuff like that. So you know, I think that's an exciting. I'm excited to see that, you know, come out from you, because I think there's so much untapped, which obviously this conversation probably exposed a little bit of that, but there's so much more to your work that I think the world don't know about, and documenting that is, you know,
I think I'm not good at that, because I just love being in the world of creating, whereas like I'm not like a typical, maybe I'm stereotyping here, but I'm not a typical influencer. I'm like doing like stories and all the stuff. I should do more of it to share the process, and that is definitely something I want to do. And I know we spoke about, I've just got this like newsletter that I do now, and I'm doing like regular blog posts just to share things that I'm learning. It could be books, it could be resources, tips and tricks that I'm learning, and it's just pure like, this is helping me, maybe it'll help you. And that's definitely something I want to build, and actually have a small community of people that hopefully learn from you, and because you learn from them as well. Definitely. And that's kind of how it should be.
Bouncing off other people's energy, right? Yeah. Well, amazing. Well, John, thank you for obviously having us on. You've obviously been an amazing part, very special part of my journey personally, and Engage certainly wouldn't be here, I don't think, you know, if it wasn't for you. You know, massive respects, mate. And yeah, thank you for obviously coming on the show, and it's great to have you.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
No worries.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
That's a wrap. Cheers, guys.